What goes into evaluating a potential property to buy in this week's Purchase or Pass? Now, we mentioned cancer is a terrible disease and almost everyone knows someone that's been affected by it. It doesn't just affect humans though, it also affects property in the form of concrete cancer. Now, many Australians may not have come across it when searching for a home or an investment, but for those living around Australia's beaches, it's becoming more and more common with all the salty sea air. So, should it turn you off a property? So this week we've got a renovator's delight. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit with undercover car space, 7.8 kilometres from the CBD. Now, the block isn't the best looking building from the rear lane access, but only has 9 units in it and has some tremendous views from the balcony. Now, the property was actually advertised for sale as a deceased estate for $795,000 and it'll rent for $650 a week. Now, the property is in need of a major renovation throughout, which is likely to cost around $80,000 if you do it properly, giving an improved rent of $800 a week. Now, the potential downside of the investment is the concrete cancer in the ceiling of the car park, and a few pictures will flick up on that. So just as a general thing, Charles, for people that haven't come across concrete cancer, how bad can it be?
Oh, look, it can be repaired. You can get through it without too much issue. It just depends on how much damage there is there, Chris. But it can be in the millions of dollars if you're not careful, but particularly if it's right through the whole complex. So that's something that's going to affect the strata fees. So and
especially when you're in a strata block and a bigger one, then people try and hide away from things or say I've got no money, and then it does become a major problem.
Yeah, and the sinking fund may not cover what's needed, and more money might need to be raised. You get in there, and before you know it, you've purchased a property where you've got to raise a lot more money for yourself to be part of that complex. That's the biggest concern.
Certainly looking on the internal side of it, 80 grand to transform a unit is plenty of cash. If you increase the rent by 150 on that, is that a good use of your money?
Yeah, if you look at the interest rates today, $80,000 is probably going to be a lot less in interest repayments than it would be in rent. You're going to go
like $4,000 a year.
Yeah, okay, so that's good. You'll pick up there, but I think it's a capital gain you've got to look at, as you know, and that's probably why you're buying these places. At the end of the day, you're looking for the capital gain, and I do think capital gain is on its way back over the next couple of years and going to surprise a lot of people.
Now, how important is it, I guess, putting money into the strata? Because there is a lot of people that have been in a unit for 30 years. They bought it for probably 100 grand. It's probably now worth $1 million, but they're still not willing, because they haven't got the cash, to put money into the strata.
Look, I watch with interest the different types of properties that are for sale right now in the marketplace and what's happened over the last few years. I'm fortunate enough to have an apartment in the city of Sydney, and I purchased it in a complex, and the reason I did was because the strata is so well run. And over the last 3 to 4 years, that particular strata complex and the sales that have gone through there have increased in sales when across the road they've increased in price as opposed to decreased in price. And that's because of the way the strata is run. So I think it's absolutely critical. You could get one of those small complexes and really make them look fantastic with a small amount of money, and again, it increases the value.
That sounds good. Now, the property was actually sold, a contract fell over and actually sold for $700 rather than $795. So based on that, Purchase or Pass for you, Charles?
Well, I reckon it'd be great for somebody who knew what they're doing. For me, I'm too lazy, so I'd say a pass. You'd probably purchase because you've got the team to go in and fix it.
Yeah, look, for me, the unit is in a great position, but it's not in the best condition. But for me, a quick 4 to 6 week reno will give you a massive increase in rent and give you a similar increase in the equity as well. I think you're getting the property at a great price, so even the concrete cancer cost 10 or 20 grand, then I think it's still good. So for me, it's definitely a purchase.